I'd like to share some anecdotes. When the Mayflower came for my ancestors, other ancestors of mine profited. My great-grandmother said that, as an Austrian, that Austrians couldn't have done what Hitler did. After the 1990s, my baba told me to never say I was Serbian, to instead say I was Yugoslavian. But I didn't quite understand why at the time. My grandmother told me about one of her brothers, and for the sake of privacy, we'll call him Tommy. He was Azorean and Cherokee, one identity of a settling peoples escaping persecution for religious beliefs, and the other decimated, in the name of a similar manifested destiny. As punishment for some long-forgotten parental anger, Tommy's father marched him down to the local recruitment center to sign up for the army in the late 60s. When he went into the military, he wasn't Cherokee. He wasn't Azorean, he wasn't even a person. As our Army once put it, here, you are all equally worthless. To us in the West, it was called the Vietnam War. But in Vietnam, it was remembered as the American War. In his tank, my uncle had the job of finding targets and feeding that info to the gunner up top. Like the lucky man he was, when the same gunner's face was poked through by 7-inch artillery rounds, my uncle got a promotion on the spot. Wherever he was told to, he'd point and he'd squeeze, like the good soldier he was. Point, squeeze, point, and squeeze. Simple as that. When did war get so convenient? I don't know what combat does to a person, but I do know my grandma can only recall 2 letters ever being sent home to the family. Maybe there was too much to say, so he felt it best not to say much of anything. His mother didn't leave her room very often during the war. My great-uncle can't hear the sound of a baby crying without leaving the room, and in raising his children, this proved inconvenient for his wife. After being directed to aim a path of violent death at a patch of trees, the young men in his unit counted the dead. Amongst them was a living baby, crying and weeping for whichever number body his mother was. A crying baby isn't the best thing for troops trying to stay inconspicuous. I wonder if he knew where his commanding officer took that baby, what he did with it. I wonder if he hoped for the best. When offered a couple of weeks around the winter holidays one year in exchange for a second assignment in Vietnam, Johnny desperately agreed. He told his mom, my great-grandmother, not to open any mail that was sent home for him. When a Vietnamese soldier or otherwise was killed behind U.S. lines, something that happened often was souvenir collecting. A man returned his souvenir, in fact, not so long ago, to its rightful owner as a way to break bread. It made headlines. Not every souvenir can be returned. Tommy or Johnny or Ronny was given a souvenir by other green men. With an anthill, honey, and a dead man without a casket, they harvested the souvenir. I hope she didn't look in the box that was sent for him. You can turn anything green. My great-uncle knew that as well as any of his company. You can paint the thing green, you can cut a hole in the front, put a bowl in the back, you can use it to numb the pain. You can commit whatever act makes you feel like the green paint you wore in Vietnam was at fault, rather than the person underneath. You can do any of these things, but you can't return it. There is no breaking of bread in that scenario. Not long after being back from war, he threw any and all things Vietnam away. He didn't want to sell them, the Purple Hearts, the military decorations. The money wouldn't feel right, wouldn't feel clean. My great-grandmother went and grabbed the things from the trash without telling Tommy. She thought one day he might want them. When she died, whether he wanted them or not, he got them. The skull she didn't save from the trash. I wonder about that. All of the pieces of people, discarded or lost or taken from them. Where do they go? What happens to all of them? Do they make something new?
You don't really know for sure just exactly how much damage you are doing. I think most of us would like to know, would like to have a firm idea. We probably don't.
We have 4,845 years of history. So out of this long period of life, our ancestors have left us something. And we have it in our own mythology, our legends, and so on. We have the dragon as the force of the matter, and the fairy as the force of the spirit. So dragon and fairy is matter plus the spirit. So this is in essence what we try to give them.
I don't know many specifics about my own Cherokee heritage, family lineage, and what have you. My great-grandfather burned the papers.